Solving inequalities.
Yay. What is an inequality?
An inequality is an equation in which both sides are not equal.
3 is less than 33.3 and so on.
When solving inequalities, the main goal is to isolate the variable, in this case, x. In order to do this, we must first clear the fractions. 3, 5, and 15 are all multiples. So to clear the fractions, we'll multiply everything by 15. Three goes into 15 5 times, so 5 times 2 is 10. Now we will subtract. 5 goes into 15 3 times, so we have 3 times x, so our variable is now semi-isolated. And on the other side, we have 15, which goes into 15 once, so we just have 4. Next, to further isolate the variable, we'll use the addition/subtraction principle and subtract 10 from both sides. This leaves us with negative 3x is less than negative 6. Now, using the multiplication principle, we're going to divide both sides by negative 3. When dividing by a negative, you have to switch the inequality in order to make the equation true. This leaves us with x is less than 2, but since we're using negatives, we have to switch the inequality, and it becomes x is greater than 2. Now, writing that in set builder notation, we have x, 2, and those little things Carson can't draw. Next, we're going to graph the problem. Starting with our beautiful red number line, we are going to mark the number 2 and 0 because it's always good to have 0 on a number line. So when doing this, you can either graph using an open circle or a closed circle. An open circle means that it does not include the number the circle is on, but a closed circle means it does. So in this case, it's not greater than or equal to, it's just greater than. So we'll just use our open circle and graph it up.
First we distribute 4 to the 2y, and then to the 3, and then that gives us 8y subtract 12 is greater than 28. And then using the addition principle, we add 12, like so. And that gives us 8y is greater than 40. And then using the multiplication principle, we divide by 8 on both sides to get y by itself. And that gives us y is greater than 5. So now we are going to graph it, and it's going to draw our beautiful purple graph. And because the arrows are for that number lines go on forever, and here is our 0 and our 5, and we are going to draw an open circle because instead of greater than or equal to, it's just greater than. So, and now we're just going to draw our arrow going that way. So here is set builder notation where there's the y, and then is greater than 5, and then we have those little parentheses that Carson can't do. And there we go. Yay! Yeah! Smiley face! Star! Be happy, Kathy, be happy.
The first step in solving this inequality would be to clear the fractions. You could either first clear the fractions 2/3 or 7/8. We're going to go with 7/8. In order to do this, we'd multiply the whole thing by 8, but we'd only distribute to 7/8, 4x, and 5/8. And then we'd also multiply to 3/8, but we'd leave the 2/3 right here alone. So that leaves us with 2/3 times 7 minus 32x minus 5 is less than 3. So we can clear the next fraction. In order to clear the next fraction, we'd multiply everything by 3. But because last time we ignored the 2/3, this time we're going to distribute to that and not distribute to the innermost parentheses. So we're distributing there and to the 5. We're also distributing it on the other side. This leaves us with 2 times 7 minus 32x minus 15 is less than 9. Our next step would be to distribute the 2. Goes to the 7 and 32. This leaves us with 14 minus 64x minus 15 is less than 9. Our next step would be to get rid of the 14 using the addition/subtraction principle. We're now left with negative 64x minus 15 is less than negative 5. Next, we'll add 15 onto both sides. So now we have negative 64x is less than 10. The next step would be to divide by negative 64, further isolating the variable. Because we're dealing with negatives, we have to switch the inequality once again, leaving us with x is greater than 10 over negative 64. But that can be reduced, leaving us with our final answer, x is greater than 5 over negative 32. We're now going to graph our solution, starting with this gorgeous number line. We're going to mark 0 and 5 over negative 32. X is greater than 5 over negative 32, but it's not equal to it, or there's not that option. So we're going to have an open circle and continue our number line. In this problem, we're solving for x. Our first step towards isolating the variable would be subtracting b from both sides, which leaves us with y minus b is less than a times x. X is still our variable, so I'm going to circle it again just to keep track of it. Our next thing would be to divide by a. This leaves us with y minus b over a is less than x, our variable. And we've solved it. But this problem we can't graph because we're only using variables. So we have finished.